Councilmember Barber.
Present.
Councilmember Burke.
Present.
Councilmember Ingert.
Present by Zoom.
Councilmember Forster.
Present.
Councilmember Holman.
Present.
Councilmember Townsend.
Present.
Mayor Turnbow.
Present. We have a quorum. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. We have no presentations and awards this evening or personal appearances, so we'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Kraus to make a staff report for Public Works. This might be a little longer than the normal staff report.
Roger that.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, wanted to kind of give a heads up on the paving operations on Dean Avenue. As council's aware, we milled the asphalt off last week. Currently, the plan is to close the road overnight, Thursday, September 7th, and complete the paving during the overnight hours. The detour route for Dean Avenue is going to be Fox Ridge to Johnson Drive, and then that will allow folks to come up from the south. We anticipate they're going to be paving from north to south, so most of the access points will be open for folks to continue south. We are closely coordinating with all the businesses adjacent to Dean Avenue. As we get closer to the date, the contractor is going to be putting up message boards. We're going to be doing social media, putting the detour routes out on social media. We anticipate the paving will start sometime after rush hour. That'll give the folks times that are at the restaurants and such in the Galleria to kind of get home, and most people to get home, and hopefully they will be wrapped up sometime before sunrise. That's currently the plan, but I've also seen Mike Tyson quote, "Everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face." So we're going to have to be a little flexible as things move forward. But that does conclude my staff report.
Okay. Anything else? No. Does anybody have any questions? Ms. Abdelgawad.
I have a question. I've heard some complaints about the Lucy Web. It's just really rough what they've done.
What we
word on
did
that?
there is, I'm sorry, I started talking over you.
That's all right. I was just wondering, if what's our explanation when people say, "Wow, you worked on this road, but it's almost worse now than it was before."
Well, what we did is we did a microsurface. We did not do a traditional mill and overlay. We also used a steel slag aggregate, because what happens over time is the aggregate within the asphalt gets polished and it gets kind of slippery, and so what we do with the steel slag is it creates a rougher surface, but it creates traction longer, especially in the winter. So it doesn't kind of smooth the road out the same way as an overlay does. So any of the imperfections and any of the crack seal, but as far as a rougher surface, yes, there's going to be a rougher ride, but it provides more traction for a longer period of time. The other thing that the microsurface does is seals all the cracks in the road. Moisture is our enemy on those roads, and so, yeah, you don't have the ability to kind of smooth it out like you do when you're paving, but that's really the reason for the roughness.
Yes, Mr. Barber.
Thank you. So we can't say that's just to keep people from driving fast, because I've been saying if you don't slow down, we're going to do that to all the roads in Raymore.
Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had communication with Mr. Fearborn earlier. On the Dean Avenue, I guess, milling, there is some white lines painted up towards 58, but they stop like right before it starts curving. Was that something, I know we talked about, that we could have either who's doing that or us, with a 5-lane road and with a curb and with the amount of businesses that are there? I think it's a little bit dangerous. I was there Saturday. People don't know where to drive, and then if they turn left, they're in potentially an oncoming lane they don't know. Is that something we could get before the Labor Day weekend?
We are working with the contractor to get out there, and it's really the contractor's work zone and responsibility. We're working with them to get out there to restripe the area.
Okay, thank you.
And those are just temporary stripings, correct? Yeah.
That's
I mean,
correct, but we're working with them to get a little heavier paint on the road.
Okay. All right. Ms. Forster?
Thank you. Back to the Lucy Web, which when are we going to have that painted? Because I've been hearing
complaints about not knowing where to drive either because it's not painted.
We're working on a schedule with the contractor for that as well. Should be within a weeks. Yep.
Anyone else? Okay. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Mr. Krass. I would ask Mr. Mustine to make a report for Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, sir. Mayor, members of the council, I've submitted a written report, just a few highlights. We completed our annual mini mud run on August 18th, so thank you to our sponsors, one of them sitting on the dais here. Excellent crowd, excellent weather. It's just a great event, so it's always so much fun. We also have 5 weeks left, including tomorrow with the farmers market, and then we wrap that up for the season. Also, a project update is our playground, the 2 to 5-year-old playground at Recreation Park is open. I know I might have mentioned that to maybe it was the park board last week I mentioned that, but it is open and available. There's no fencing there, so we'll do ribbon cuttings and stuff. The plan is, after talking with the park board, they wanted to wait until some of the other projects at Recreation Park are wrapped up, and then we kind of do a bundle early next spring sometime. So we're just letting people know that the playground is open and ready to use, and it turned out really good. Last couple things is the Walter Buck Memorial Fishing Derby's coming up September 16th at Johnston Lake, and you can pre-register. There's a couple age divisions. Obviously our website, Facebook, or you can call the office if anyone's interested in that. And then the Fall Trucktoberfest is October 6th at Recreation Park. And all the information's on our website and Facebook. So happy to answer any questions. That concludes my report for this month.
Anybody have any questions? Ms. Forster.
Thank you. The skate park,
Yes.
do we have an update on when the new versus the old? I know I saw some of the stuff is being auctioned, but do we know when the new one is supposed to be opened?
It is currently under construction.
But we don't have an idea of when it's going to be.
I would hate to put a date or specific to it, but they're telling us 2 to 3 weeks should be the majority of the work done. So.
Still this year is the
Oh,
plan.
yes, ma'am.
but
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Mr. Mustine. I would ask Ms. Harmer to make a report.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Summer is busy for me, but we just wrapped up the budget work, and the review and fall Parks and Rec program guide has just been sent to the printer. So we are up to 11,065 Raymore addresses that we send that magazine to. Back in fall of 2020, we were at a little over 10,000, so that's a lot of extra Raymore addresses in the last few years. This issue of the review includes the full State of the City address that the mayor gave a few weeks ago, an update on the landfill fight, and how to sign up for text notifications if you want strictly landfill-related updates sent to your phone, the city manager's proposed budget, stormwater quality and water quality, and only rain down the drain, and a reminder about not raking your leaves into the street. It includes information on the upcoming household hazardous waste mobile collection that is September 23rd at Eagle Glen Elementary from 8 a.m. to noon. And there's a feature article on a relatively new resident that we have that I think is a fascinating woman, and so I can't wait for you to read about that. She has really fully embraced Raymore as her home, and so she's got a really interesting history, so look out for that. And then also information on Raymore, still having the lowest water and sewer rates in Cass County, and how winter average or volume billing, how to decide which one might be right for you to keep your bill down. There's information on the Missouri Highway Grant for $4 million that the city recently received, that you recently approved to accept. Ward Road and Prairie Lane updates, the updated information on council limiting the code for peddlers, canvassers, and solicitors. And I'll be putting that information out publicly tomorrow so people can come and pick up those stickers at either the police station or at our utilities windows, and for free. And then there's also a calendar of upcoming events, and I want to go through September events really quickly. So September 4th is Labor Day. City Hall is closed that day. And just a reminder, there is no trash service on Monday, on Labor Day. All trash service will be delayed by one day that week. We have free paper shredding that the police department sets up. That is on Saturday, September 9th from 9 a.m. to noon at City Hall. That's for residential, personal papers only, no business papers, no papers, no documents from organizations, just your personal documents you want to shred. On September 15th, Friday, September 15th, there's a concert at the Hawkridge Park Amphitheater. Bradley Harris, he is a Raymore resident, and he's very well known, and he brings a great crowd, and he thinks Raymore is the greatest city on the earth. So he definitely loves the community. So come out to that. It's free. Bring your chair or blanket, any snacks and drinks you want. And then, of course, Mr. Mustine mentioned the Walter Buck Memorial Fishing Derby on Saturday, September 16th at Hawkridge Park. September 23rd, again, is the Household Hazardous Waste Mobile Collection. And then, of course, the Raymore Farmers Market goes through September every Tuesday at Municipal Circle at Centerview. So those are just September events to keep on your calendar. And I think we're going to probably go through the month really quickly. So I can't believe it's already almost September. That's all I have for you this evening. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, one more thing. I want to thank Councilman Baker for coming out to the very hot concert a few weeks ago at Hawkridge Park. It was the Brothers Making Waves BMW band. They were amazing. It was hot. There was a breeze. It was a little bit like an oven breeze, but they put on a wonderful performance, and we had a really great amount of people there considering the threat of severe weather. Again, I don't know that we'll ever have an arts commission again without a threat of severe weather. I'm hoping, but it was a really good crowd. So thank you for coming out. I did see you there and chatted with you, and it was a really good time. Now I'm done.
All right. Any questions for Melissa? Yes, Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question. Was that the same band that played Summer Scene Saturday night, like the final?
It was, and you really loved them.
Yeah, they were awesome. And I missed them this time.
And you missed them.
I was
Darn
out
it.
of town. I thought so. Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Melissa. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Ms. Harmer. I would ask Mr. Gress to make a report on the comprehensive plan.
Thank you, sir. Mayor and Council, just a couple updates on where we're at with the comprehensive plan. Staff right now is on track to receive the first of 3 deliverables from our consultants on September 7th. What that will be is basically the consultant's analysis and assessment of all the information that staff passed on to them in our draft. So we'll review that for any comments or revisions based on what they've put together. The other piece of what we'll receive is within their team, they have a individual who's putting together an economic and demographic analysis and outlook for the city of Raymore, which will establish, I keep calling it a baseline, but it's a lot of assumptions in terms of previous, current, and future growth assumptions for the plan, and so that's what a lot of the next steps will be based off of. So we're set to receive that on September 7th, and then we have about 2 weeks to review that and provide comments back to the consultant before they proceed into the next set of deliverables, which will be a number of different maps and figures and plans that staff has worked with them on to incorporate into the plan. Right now, we are set to have the last deliverable of this is the draft plan, which will then be presented to the different boards, commissions, and councils for review and input at that time before we send it back for one final revision. Where it would then be proposed for adoption at some point later next year. Those work sessions or meetings or whatever format we put together to interact with the council and commissions on, that's set right now for December and January timeframe after we get out of the holidays. And so there'll be more information to come on that here in the next few weeks, I'm sure. But I did want to provide an update here because of and actually 100% because of the unique approach that we have taken with this plan. The consultant actually invited the city to participate in a panel discussion at the MML conference coming up here next month on the 12th. So myself, one individual from the consultant team at Olson, and then 2 other cities that are going through a comprehensive plan effort right now will hold a panel discussion and kind of just discuss the pros and cons of the processes that we've all chosen to go through. So looking forward to that group discussion with some other counterparts that I have in other cities. Very much appreciate that opportunity. And just fortunate to have that as part of this process for us as well. That concludes my staff report.
Thank you, David. Any questions for Mr. Gress? Mr. Townsend.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Speaking with regard to the economic outlook, I believe you said the addendum or attachment to this particular comprehensive plan, are you able to, you or Mr. Furman, to speak to the challenge we have now, you know, with the landfill, is how is that being considered in that discussion for that particular product?
It's going to be, we can't ignore it, the same way I couldn't ignore it in the budget. The problem is, going into it, it will probably be to a more limited degree than what we have discussed within the budget and what will be in writing in the budget. But again, it will be mentioned in there. The comprehensive plan has to be a living document, just like the budget, just not quite as living, because it's going to carry on for years and years and years. So the items within there are certainly not static and certainly need to be reviewed from time to time. A little bit broader brush, but it has to be mentioned because it's the most, as the mayor has said on a number of occasions, it is the most significant thing that has happened to this city, possibly in our history.
Understood. Okay.
So it has to be in there.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Fearborn, anything else?
Yes, thank you, sir. Just a reminder to the council that that City Hall will be closed next Monday. There will be no meeting next Monday night as we celebrate the Labor Day holiday. That concludes staff reports this evening, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any follow-on questions? Mr. Ingert, you okay out there?
So far, so good.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, well, we have no committee reports. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 2 items on the consent agenda this evening, the minutes of the August 14th meeting and the resolution for the disposal of surplus property. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Abdelgawad.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented with those 2 items.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. I'll second.
Thank you, sir. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. We'll now move on to unfinished business, excuse me. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3837 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3837 by title only, an ordinance pursuant to Section 67.110 of the revised statutes of Missouri levying general and special taxes in the city of Raymore, Missouri for the year 2023.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdelgawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3837, setting the 2023 tax levy.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3837. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3834 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3834 by title only, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan for a commercial development project and a development and performance agreement between the City of Raymore, Missouri and Timber Trails Land Partners, LLC for the purpose of providing funds to pay the costs of improving a commercial development project in the city and authorizing certain agreements and other actions by the city.
Thank you. If there's no further questions, I entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdelgawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3834, the Timber Trails Chapter 100 Development and Performance Agreement.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3834. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3840 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3840 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Bright Construction LLC for the Johnston Drive Extension Project, City Project Number 23-426-201, in the amount of $497,877, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdel-Gawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3840, award of contract for Johnston Drive Extension.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. The motion has been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3840. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdel-Gawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3825 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3825 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with TRS Total Range Service LLC for the repair and restoration of the Police Department firing range in the amount of $305,800, and to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdel-Gawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3825, award of contract for the police firing range repair.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3825. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdel-Gawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
The motion also carries unanimously. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3841 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3841 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving the Dean Avenue Extension right-of-way, second plat, a subdivision of land located in the northwest quarter of Section 32 and the southwest quarter of Section 29, all in Township 46 North, Range 32 West, Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdel-Gawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3841, the Dean Avenue South Extension right-of-way plat.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3841. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdel-Gawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3839 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3839 by title only, an ordinance amending the City Traffic Engineers Schedule 3 parking limited or prohibited to establish no parking signs within the city limits of Raymore, Cass County, Missouri.
Thank you, ma'am. If there are no further questions on this side, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdel-Gawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3839, establishing no parking signs on Kentucky Road.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3839. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdel-Gawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. I'll take us into new business. Could I please have the reading of Resolution 23 by 33, 23-33 by title only?
The reading of Resolution 2333 by title only, a resolution of the City of Raymore, Missouri, amending the schedule of fees.
Thank you, ma'am. This requires a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing at this time and ask for a staff report.
Thank you, sir. I would ask Ms. Williams to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Before you this evening is a resolution amending the schedule of fees for our fiscal year 2024, which begins November 1st, 2023. Moving in the order of our schedule of fees, building inspection permits were reviewed and there was an update to the roofing permit wording to include single or two family. The License Tax Review Committee met in July and is recommending increasing the excise tax per trip by the rate of the construction cost index as of January 2023. That rate is 4.93%. The water and sewer section includes increases to the tap fees also related to the construction cost index of 4.93%, as well as increasing the meter supply fee to the cost of purchase. Staff met with council at a work session in July regarding the cost of service water and sewer rate model. The adjustments to the water and sewer rates are before you in our schedule of fees. The Parks and Recreation section includes increases to various rental fees approved by the Park Board at their July 25th meeting, and also includes the Farmers Market booth space was moved to the Parks and Recreation section. That concludes staff report.
Thank you, Lisa. Are there any questions for Ms. Williams? Anything additional from you, Mr. Fearborn, on this item?
No, sir. As the council will remember, however, the only item that requires the public hearing on this is the sewer rate change. However, each year, it's always nice to be able to bundle them together, and if anybody would have public input on any of the fee changes or any of the fees in general, we always kind of like to go a little bit overboard and have the public hearing on the entire item.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir. There is a public hearing open at this time. I'd entertain anyone from the public to step forward. If they wish to address the council, state your name and address for the record. Try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Seeing no one step forward, I'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Abdelgawad?
I move that we approve Resolution 23-33, amending the schedule of fees.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the reading of Resolution 23-33. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes?
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3846 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3846 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the mayor to enter into a cooperative cost-sharing agreement with Cass County, Missouri for the construction of transportation infrastructure improvements to Prairie Lane.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask Mr. Zur to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, what you have before you this evening for Bill 3846 is an agreement to cost-share improvements to Prairie Lane. It's a 2.5-mile improvement project valued around $467,000 plus change. The total portion of Raymore, I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me rephrase that. The total cost for the construction of the improvements is $467,338.75 as estimated and received by Cass County. Raymore's portion of it is a half-a-mile portion. Raymore would be contributing $94,447.13 plus a 10% contingency to go along with that for any unanticipated costs. Cass County would be covering the remaining $372,891.62. Raymore would not be responsible for contracting for either the engineering or the construction of it. That would all be within the terms of Cass County. Cass County's legal counsel has had the opportunity to review and see the agreement in hand and has only made comment with regard to the addition of the Exhibit A, which has not been included in your packet. The Exhibit A is reference to the actual design and construction plans that will be provided to you next week. I have, in fact, received it from Cass County, but we did not get it in time to supplement it into your files. I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have, and again, my apologies for the indefinite with regard to the dollar figure provided.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Krass, in your negotiations with the county on this thing, did they say when they might be able to do that, and might they be using the same contractor that did County Line? Do you know?
We attempted to get a schedule, but we do not have one. I believe Superior Bowen is the contractor for this.
Oh, okay.
That is accurate.
I don't know who they used for
Who did
County
it?
Line.
Yeah, I didn't know who did that either, but they did a good job. Yes, Mr. Holtman, did you have something?
Yes, sir. Mr. Zur, I saw the daggers. I felt your pain. It was good enough for the president during a briefing in clear and present danger. I had no issues with it, sir.
Another movie. Anybody else have any questions of staff? If there are no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Belgawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3846, the Prairie Lane Cost Share Agreement.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3846. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Can I please have the first reading of Bill 3843 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3843 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Legacy Underground Construction, Inc. for the fire hydrant and valve replacement project, city project number 23-430-201/202, in the amount of $199,750, and authorizing the city manager to approve change orders within established budget constraints.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Krass to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, Mr. Fearborn, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Staff is bringing forward a contract for recommending for approval with Legacy Construction for our annual valve and hydrant replacement program. The location of the work is shown on the attached map. Legacy has done other work for us satisfactorily, and we do recommend approval of the
Okay.
contract.
That was going to be my question. Thank you, Mr. Krass.
That concludes staff report.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Mr. Krass? Anything else on staff report, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. If there are no further questions, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Abdelgawad.
I move that we approve Bill 3843, award of contract for fire hydrant and valve replacements.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3843. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. That ends the new business portion of our agenda this evening. We'll now move on to public comments. Anyone from the public would like to address the council this evening, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Seeing no one jump out of their seat, or anyone in the seats, to be honest with you, we'll move on to mayor council communication. Mr. Ingert, you're absent this evening from us, but you're here in spirit and body. So let's hear what you have to say tonight, sir.
It's not COVID, it's just a really bad cold.
Well, that's good to know. Are you are you still on the downside, or you getting over it?
No, we're getting better, but the bad news is it seems that my wife caught it now, so
Oh, no.
I know how to take care of her when as this progresses through the household.
All right, sir. Well, good luck. We hope you get to feeling better.
Thank you.
Mr. Belgawad.
I don't have anything tonight. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Mr. Barber?
I think I'll concur with that, and I don't have anything as well.
Well, we do have a follow-on meeting. And Mr. Holman?
I will yield my time as well, sir.
All right. Mr. Baker?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Change it up a little bit. Fall is almost here, and it's college football season. And I would just like to recognize one of our residents. His mom and dad still live here in Ward 1, Todd and Pepper Grimm. Their son, Luke Grimm, plays for the University of Kansas football team, starting wide receiver. I talked to Coach Martin today at Ray Peck, and he is the only Division I starter from Ray Peck currently. Which I think that's a huge accomplishment with a program that I believe is very up and coming. So to his parents and to Luke, good luck this year, and be proud that you're from Raymore playing for a D1 program and starting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Townsend?
I have nothing this evening, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Forster?
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
And Mr. Burke?
I have nothing as well. Thank you.
All right, and ditto here, so we'll We have no reason to move into executive session, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn from regular session.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Thanks, Ms. Abdelgawad. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn from regular session. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Baker?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Ingert?
Yes.
Councilmember Forster?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned from regular session. Do we want to take a break or just move right on into it? Okay, let's roll tide. I like that. So we will now call to order the Raymore Community Foundation for Monday, August the 28th, 2023. And I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Director Abdelgawad?
Here.
Director Baker?
Present.
Director Barber?
Present.
Director Burke?
Present.
Director Ingert?
Present.
Director Forster?
Present.
Director Holman?
Present.
Director Townsend?
Present.
Director Turnbow?
Present. We do have a quorum. On our agenda this evening, the first item is the minutes of the May 16th meeting that we had. Those minutes are part of your packet. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to review those. I'd entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes for the May 16th meeting of Raymore Community Foundation.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the May 16th meeting minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Director Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Director Baker?
Abstain, as I was not a member yet.
Director Barber?
Yes.
Director Burke?
Yes.
Director Ingert?
Also abstain as I was not a member at that time.
Director Forster?
Yes.
Director Holman?
Yes.
Director Townsend?
Yes.
Director Turnbow?
Yes. We have 7 yes and 2 abstentions. Motion carries. We'll now move on to new business. Item A under new business is the election of new officers. And under our bylaws, we are to meet in January. We were a little busy in January. And I'll let Mr. Murdoch explain this part of the agenda, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We were a little busy in January, but to that end, I do apologize. I should have caught that one. We are supposed to meet the 4th Monday in January, so we are a tad behind here on this one. I do want to call your attention, though, we will meet in January of 2024, so we will have a couple of quick meetings to get back on the appropriate schedule here. So the officers that we'll elect tonight are August through January of 2024, so I just want to make sure that we are clear on that one. Customarily, what we would have is the mayor is president of the foundation. The vice president is typically the mayor pro tem. The secretary is an at-large council member, and the treasurer is Ms. Williams. That's the way it has been done in the past. So our current slate right now is Director Townsend is the vice president, and Director Abdelgawad is the secretary, with the treasurer being Ms. Williams right now. So that is what you are doing right now. Unless you want to nominate other people, it would be up to one of the directors to make a motion to nominate those 3 positions: vice president, secretary, and treasurer. That's what you're doing tonight with this item.
Okay. Anybody have any input? I had actually recommended a slate of Ms. Abdelgawad for vice president, Mr. Baker as secretary, and then, of course, Lisa Williams as the treasurer, with me, again, filling the role as president of the foundation. Yes, sir.
Sir, I'll make a motion to nominate that slate as you just presented.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, sir. Motion's been made and seconded. Motion was made by Director Holman and seconded by Director Townsend to approve the slate of candidates as described by me. Is there any further discussion or any other nominations? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Director Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Director Baker?
Yes.
Director Barber?
Yes.
Director Burke?
Yes.
Director Ingert?
Yes.
Director Forster?
Yes.
Director Holman?
Yes.
Director Townsend?
Yes.
Director Turnbow?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. We'll now move on to the acceptance of donation with conditions. This is Resolution 23-01. How do we handle those? Is there another read by title only type thing?
We'll do a read by title only, and we'll do a quick description of each one.
All right, let's do that then.
The reading of Resolution 2301 by title only, a resolution of the Raymore Community Foundation accepting a donation from Aaron's Family Fund Center for equipment purchases for the Raymore Police Department.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a staff report?
Let me just go ahead and take it. So Resolution 2301 is the 2 annual fundraisers that Aaron's does and then donates a portion of those funds to Belton, a portion of those funds to Raymore. Per your bylaws, you do have to accept those donations from Aaron's because there is a condition that those funds be spent on equipment for the Raymore Police Department. That's why this resolution is in front of you. So we're accepting those $38,000 tonight.
With a specific target for?
It has to be spent on, it had to be spent on something equipment or safety related for the police department. That's why.
But we've identified the Milo.
Yes, we've identified the Milo, the Milo system that we're spending the money on. Yes, sir.
Part of the resolution, okay.
Yes.
All right. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? If there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion to accept Resolution 23-01.
I move that we accept Resolution 2301.
Thank you, Director Abdelgawad. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Director Townsend. The motion's been made and seconded to approve Resolution 23-01. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Director Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Director Baker?
Yes.
Director Barber?
Yes.
Director Burke?
Yes.
Director Engert?
Yes.
Director Forster?
Yes.
Director Holman?
Yes.
Director Townsend?
Yes.
Director Turnbow?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. We'll now move on to Resolution 23-02. Could I please have that read by title only?
The reading of Resolution 2302 by title only, a resolution of the Raymore Community Foundation dispersing funds for various equipment and projects.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
So similar to what you just did in terms of accepting funds, we do require, as a part of the Raymore Community Foundation, that any disbursement over $10,000 is approved by the council. You'll note in Resolution 2302 that there are 4 of those this year, so I do want to make sure that those get read out real quick. We're doing the $38,000 for the Milo simulators for the Raymore Police Department, $147,437 for the improvements at Hawk Ridge Park, $13,511.86 for a contribution towards the new scoreboards for the Parks and Recreation Department, and just over the limit, $10,042.94 for Shop with a Cop. Before you, if there's any discussion on this item, I was telling Director Townsend as well prior to the meeting, and we'll send it out to you all in the morning, a balance sheet that goes along with the foundation so that you can kind of see. We carry a very small balance, obviously, within the foundation, and that's exactly the way it should be. And so you'll see a large balance, and then we end up expending most of that here, a large chunk of that, about 80% going to parks here, which is what you're dealing with here with Resolution 23-02.
Thank you, sir. And Mr.
And then
Dearborn?
just a couple of things to tag on to that. Thanks to Ms. Williams and Ms. Williams, Rachel Williams, our accountant, so you know, we track these things very carefully. So it would be our intention, at the excellent suggestion of Councilmember Townsend, that when we get back onto our annual schedule in January, we'll be presenting a form of this to you all. Then if you ever need to see the background, and of course we'll be providing this to you via email shortly. Hopefully the disbursements and receipts for the Shop with a Cop donations to the foundation, I promise the council will go up by at least $200 for me jumping the gun on No Shave November.
Gotcha.
That concludes staff reports on this item.
That's good. All right, thank you, Jim. Any further questions of staff or comments? Yes, Mr. Holman.
So just for, we don't have much in the way of an audience tonight, probably not a lot larger on the TV screen, but just Milo simulators are basically hardware, software for use of force decision-making on the part of the police officers. You may be familiar with the old firearms training simulator system. Milo's a new version of that. The scoreboard's pretty straightforward for Parks and Rec Department. Shop with a Cop with is an outreach program that our police department's been involved in for a number of years, where they take children out and maybe their families don't have the ability to provide for them at that time, and give them a really nice experience. could we get just a bit more detail? I know we did a number of things at Hawk Ridge Park, just a bit more detail on what that 147,000 includes on that.
All of it to the inclusive playgrounds.
Playground, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you, sir. That's all I had.
Mrs. Abdelgawad.
Thank you, sir. I was kind of looking at the other side of that. So we know that the Milo simulators, that money came from a donation from Aaron's Family Fun Center. The Hawk Ridge Park improvements, we did big fundraising as a city. Ms. Harmer worked hard on that and working with an organization to raise that money. Shop with a Cop, I know PD works hard raising money for Shop with a Cop. So those are all designated donations, really. I never heard about a fundraising for the scoreboard. Is that random money that's come in that we've chosen to spend that on, or was there a fundraising project to raise funds for the scoreboard?
The funds for the scoreboard came from the Old Park Foundation. When they disbanded in 2018, they designated specific funds and dollar amounts. So that $13,500, which has now got interest, was specifically earmarked for scoreboards. In our FY26 capital budget, the Park Board had identified that as a project. We'll be bringing information to you a little sooner than that. So that's where that came from.
Thanks, Nathan. Anyone else have anything? There are no further questions. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of Resolution 23-02.
I move that we approve Resolution 23-02.
Thank you, Director Abdelgawad. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Director Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded to approve Resolution 23-02. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Director Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Director Baker?
Yes.
Director Barber?
Yes.
Director Burke?
Yes.
Director Engert?
Yes.
Director Forster?
Yes.
Director Holman?
Yes.
Director Townsend?
Yes.
Director Turnbow?
Yes. Motion carries 9-0. That concludes our business for this evening for the foundation. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Director Abdelgawad. Is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you, Director Townsend. Motion's been made and seconded for adjournment. Could I have the roll call, please?
Director Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Director Baker?
Yes.
Director Barber?
Yes.
Director Burke?
Yes.
Director Engert?
Yes.
Director Forster?
Yes.
Director Holman?
Yes.
Director Townsend?
Yes.
Director Turnbow?
Yes. We are adjourned. Thank you all.